Hi, this is Mrs. G. When I was developing this course, one of my students from a previous class asked me if I could make art videos showing students what it's like to make art in each of the art styles that we're learning about in this course. I thought that was an amazing idea, especially since it's not a project-based course. So, for each art style, you'll see a video of me, Mrs. G, trying to be an artist from each art style. So, since we're starting with Fauvism, today I'm going to try my hand at being a Fauvist. I got my inspiration from Matisse's artwork, Polynesia, the Sea. He created that artwork by cutting paper, colored paper, to explore the play between positive and negative space, which we're going to talk about in a second, with a strong emphasis on shape. Now, the shapes that Matisse really liked are shapes that are, they resemble things from the sky and from the sea, and in Polynesia, the sea, you'll see shapes that resemble birds, coral, shells, crustaceans, etc. So for my work, I love shapes like stars and moons and swirls, kind of celestial shapes like that. So first, I wanted to sketch in my sketchbook what I want my artwork to kind of look like, just to get an idea before I start cutting things out of paper. So I want an emphasis on star shapes, but maybe stars of varying sizes, kind of scattered throughout my page. And it's just a sketchbook, so it doesn't have to be exact. I can play around with where I want the shapes to go. Then maybe some swirls coming off of the stars, kind of like shooting star style. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Just want to get a feel for what I'd like to create. Okay, sketchbook part done. And I've actually already started this project. But what you heard me say earlier about the play between positive and negative shape, the negative space is going to be created by actually cutting shapes out of the colored paper. So as you can see, I cut a star out of the blue paper, and when I put it on top of white paper, the star shape is created by the negative space. And then my swirls are positive. They are added onto the paper with yellow paper. So I'm going to continue doing that. I want to cut out some more stars, and I've created some templates. If you want shapes to be uniform throughout, cut them out of cardboard or something that's slightly heavier than paper. I used old boxes that were actually in my recycling can. So let's see, I'll put this shape up here. Just going to trace it onto my paper. All right. Oh, I like the placement of that. I have a smaller star that I'd like to include in this top corner. Okay. I think I'm only going to use one large star, so I don't need that tracer anymore. Let's put this, where was it in my sketchbook? Okay, it was right about there, and then this one was right about here. I can do that. I like to angle my cardboard star cutouts so that there's a bit of movement between the stars in the work. They don't all look just like a regular star that you'd see. All right. Next up is cutting them out. When you want to cut out something that is in the middle of a page, one thing you could do is use scissors and take the point of the scissors, hold it to the center of the shape that you want to cut out, and gently lift up the paper to make a hole. Then insert the scissors through it and cut out your shape. That's definitely one way you can do it, but that gets kind of tricky for me. But if all you have are a pair of scissors, that'll definitely work. What I prefer instead is to use an X-Acto knife. When you use an X-Acto knife, it's important to put it on a big piece of cardboard or a mat like this that's designed for the use of X-Acto knives so you don't damage the surface of the table on which you're working. When you use an X-Acto knife, you'll notice that the blade fits into a handle through a little screw part right here. Make sure it's very tight so that the blade does not slip out of the handle when you're cutting. Also, when you use an X-Acto knife, always pull it towards you. You don't want to push it because it is not designed to cut in that direction. So you'll notice that I keep rotating my paper so that I'll always be pulling the knife towards myself. Once you get a hang of it, it's very simple to use. Also, you want to keep your other hand clear of the knife so that you don't run into it and cut yourself. And there we go. You'll notice that the star shapes I created are all negative space. You can see through them, and then the shape is actually made by looking at the paper, the white paper, through the blue paper. Perfect. I'm actually going to glue my blue paper to the white ground behind it using a glue stick along the edges. I prefer a glue stick rather than a bottle of white Elmer's glue because that can cause the paper to wrinkle. We don't want wrinkly paper. Okay, I'm going to center it on my white ground. Awesome. Press it down evenly. Okay, one more step in my process. I want to make positive shapes by adding yellow swirls. When I created these 4 swirls right here, I created them all exactly the same size. Now, instead of using a tracer to ensure that shapes are the same size, you can also try this technique. First, I cut a strip of yellow paper. And since I want a few of the same swirl, I'm going to fold it a few times. So if you want 4, make sure you fold it so that there are 4 layers like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I will draw a swirl onto my paper and cut out the swirl with the paper still stacked so that I only have to cut once to get 4 shapes that are exactly the same. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 swirls. Woohoo! Let's see. It's always a good idea to lay things out before you glue them in case you need to change what it looks like. Oh, I like that up there. Kind of mirrors that down there. I need some more swirls. I'm going to repeat this process. Yeah, I like that better. Fold, fold. Make a smaller swirl for the smaller stars. Give it a nice cut right here. And then I have little swirls. Yay! Where do I want this third swirl? Ooh, I like that. Okay. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's pretty wild in the style of those wild beasts, the Fauvists. So there you go, I'm done.